The Veg Coach.
Hi everyone, I'm Ellen Jaffe Jones, the Veg Coach, and I want to share with you 3 longevity secrets, how I'm navigating my 70s for a healthy, long life. People are always asking me, tell me your secret. How do you look and do the things you do at the age of now 71? So I want to share some of my personal insights and strategies that have helped me contribute to what I believe has been a very fulfilling and engaging, fun life that I hope will give me longevity, but also everyone around me, because people just want to live a good quality of life. They want to feel good. If you want to feel good about yourself and just feel good physically and emotionally, I'd like to share with you some of the things that have really helped me, I believe, thrive through all of these many years. Number 1 longevity secret, stick to your daily routines. And what are those? For me, it's getting up out of bed first thing in the morning, no excuses. It's kind of tough. I have a wonderful boyfriend, and without going there too much, his way of waking up is very different from mine. He would stay in bed for an hour, and part of me would go like, okay, that's meditating, but it's just, for me, I have always wanted to get up out of bed right away, and that has been at least my secret. And so, of course, if you're in a relationship, you have to learn how to compromise and deal with these things, and actually, as of late, we are now waking up at 4 or 5 in the morning and going to the gym right away. Relationships are all about give and take, and this has certainly been one of those areas. And once I voiced my opinion and stressed how important it is for me to lay those running clothes out by the nightstand and to have those shoes with the clean socks inside the shoes, I just don't even have to think about what it is I need to get together to start the day. And this is especially helpful when I do all the racing that I've done. If you've been following me, you may know that as of this recording, I have placed in 291 5K or longer races for my age group. And the way I get up in the morning to do those races, when a lot of people are just still complaining about the cold weather, is that I put all my clothes out the night before, the shoes that I'm going to be training in when I warm up, and then my racing shoes are already loaded in the car, my beet juice is loaded in the car. Point being is I do all these things as much as I can the night before so that I am ready to go when I wake up. I've kind of touched on my second tip of this category of daily routines, which is do your aerobic exercise in the morning. Now, a lot of people ask me, when's the best time to do aerobic exercise or any kind of exercise? And I always answer whenever you can fit it into your schedule. But for me, it has really worked well doing it in the morning. I get it out of the way. I am so energized. Just exercising, doing aerobic exercise in the morning is incredible. It just gives you this natural high. And my boyfriend who races with me, although he grumbles when he gets up at 4 or 5 in the morning after he does a race, he said, I'm so glad I do that and never have regrets about going out early in the morning and exercising, whatever it is that you do. And as you might be able to tell, it kind of feeds on itself. Once you start a training program, then you sign up for a race. What could possibly go wrong? Because most people walk races anyway. And then you get into this community of energized athletes, and it's just so much fun. These things feed on each other, and just understand when you set out these routines, when you prepare your life each day, it produces wonderful things. Then the other thing that I do as part of my daily routines is I never skip breakfast. I have tried. Intermittent fasting is really a thing now, and I have tried. And there's a reason that breakfast is called break fast, because whenever you eat that breakfast, you are breaking some kind of fast, which has been not eating overnight, however many hours that is. Now, for some people, and I get it, it works really well to not go without eating for 12 hours, 14 hours, 16 hours, even 18 hours. If that works for you, great. But there are some people who are predisposed to diabetes, and that is certainly in my family. If you have watched my videos, you know I'm the only adult in my family that didn't get breast cancer. I'm also the only adult who didn't get diabetes and or heart disease. Part of the whole diabetes connection is learning about your blood sugar. And If you've had gestational diabetes like I did when I was pregnant, that is a big red flag that you might be predisposed to getting type 2 diabetes as you get older. Listening to your body, feeling those blood sugar pangs when you know you need to eat, and that is what happens to me when I try and skip breakfast. So I always eat breakfast. What do I eat? Always oats, some form of oats. It can be overnight oats. I never eat the quick cooking oats. I always eat the slow cooking ones, the ones that take time to not only cook, but they also, because they are not as processed, it also takes time for them to digest. And these are called complex carbohydrates, and that's what I start my day with. Throughout the day, part of my daily routine is snacking, grazing. Some of us may have been reincarnated from a cow. I don't know. It just seems like it is the right thing to do when you get hungry, to take a light snack. And usually it is in the form of a banana, some kind of fruit, or maybe some celery, some vegetables, anything that just gently feeds the hunger. We lose touch with what it's like to be hungry. And sometimes, if we're emotional eaters, and many of us are, especially in stressful times, it's like, just give me something to satisfy, give me something to take my mind off whatever I need to be focusing on. Eating healthy snacks is really important. I used to joke I'm a recovering Cliff Bar addict. When I was on the lecture circuit, and that's when I ended up getting diagnosed with psoriatic arthritis, which I have since reversed, and you can watch the video about that on this channel. But that's when the world kind of caved in. I was not eating my 9 fruits and vegetables a day, and that is another tip for you that you should be doing, at least striving for. But when I didn't do that, my autoimmune system went haywire. It's important to make sure that you're eating foods in their natural states, whole foods, and not the processed foods. Cliff Bars were a wonderful snack, and when I was in my publisher's booth all day, not only talking about my own 6 books, but my publisher's other books, I would just take a break, and not even take a break from leaving the table, but just eat a Cliff Bar when I wasn't actually talking to somebody. But usually at these veg fests and the different speaking events I would do, I was talking all day long, which I love, promoting this lifestyle, of course. And that was my passion before COVID. COVID really ended all of that. So I weaned myself off of Cliff Bars, and once I was diagnosed with psoriatic arthritis and followed the work of Dr. Brooke Goldner, who is an amazing doctor who helps people with all kinds of autoimmune diseases. I followed her protocol, and I still drink a green smoothie every day. And if you want more information about Dr. Goldner, I've done a couple of videos, and I actually wrote the foreword to her 3rd book, Goodbye Autoimmune Disease. So amazing work that she's done, and I still drink her green smoothies every single day, unless I'm on the road, and it may be a little difficult to do. And then the final tip of my daily routines is I have always made a to-do list, whether it's in my head, falling asleep at night, or, with the invention of sticky notes, I made a physical printed list. And I pretty much stick to that, because visualizing what you want to happen in your life, as we have seen in so many different kinds of videos, is so important to what actually happens. That whole thing of be careful what you wish for. It really does happen. And ever since I was a little child, I always wanted to be a foreign correspondent, because I had an uncle who worked for CBS News. And I grew up thinking that's what I want to do. And sure enough, it happened in the way that I imagined it would. So that is a lesson that I really want to share with you, is just visualize what you want. The number 2 secret to longevity, as I see it, how I'm navigating life in my 70s to live a long and healthy life, is your mindset and your approach to life. And part of this is staying positive. Now, I know this is so much easier said than done, especially in the intense world we live in. But I look at what is going on a global stage, and I just want to go back to that other saying. Who said it first? I don't know. But peace begins on your plate. And there's only so much we can do in this world to control what's happening in other parts of the world. But peace begins at home. And what you do 3 times a day, how you treat animals, can reflect the way the world is treating each other. So I would encourage you to do the best you can to stay positive, whether it's waking up and doing meditation, saying mantras to yourself that may have been given to you in an official form of transcendental meditation, which is a very formal way of developing a mantra, but you can Google mantras and pick one. And just whenever you get stressed, just start repeating that word or phrase that helps calm you down. Now, there are many different phrases that I have gone to over the years, and part of it is don't go there. I remember once asking my mother, how did you survive 50 years of being married to my dad at their 50th anniversary? And they would go on to have 64 years of wedded bliss, and I give them a lot of credit for that, but her word was tolerance. And I go, tolerance of what? And her answer to me was, don't go there. Just whatever phrase works for you to take you out of whatever rabbit hole you fall into that is maybe not productive for your lifestyle. Other phrases are drop the rope, let it go, count to 10. Whatever works for you, find something that can kind of transmit you from that negative space to doing something positive for yourself and especially for other people. That's another thing that has been really, really critical in my mindset. And I don't know, I must have read this in 7th grade on some stupid dating book. I was going to say dating website, but we didn't have computers back then. I have to remind myself of that. But it's this whole idea that you can get a guy, and this is again what I remember reading, you can get a guy to open up because they love to talk about themselves, so ask them questions. And when you focus on other people, that is really true. It takes your mind off yourself and your own suffering. And it's not that you should not be a part of dealing with whatever it is you need to deal with for your own existential existence, but it is really important to focus on how you can help other people because that will make you feel better. Trust me, it will. And even if it's just a small random act of kindness, anything you can do to think about helping others will make you feel better. And number 3 of longevity secrets, how I'm navigating my 70s, living a healthy and long life, is nutrition. Of course, I've written 6 books on nutrition and fitness, and this is my passion. And I really feel like if you do nothing else, if you're asking, Ellen, where do I start? It would be with what's on your plate, because we have to deal with this at least 3 times a day. And it's just so important for giving you the kind of energy you're going to need to do whatever it is to stay healthy in your life. Of course, I am whole foods, plant-based. That's been my legacy for the last 43 years now. And it's just been so important as I've watched everybody in my family. Being the youngest, I had the opportunity to see for myself for a lifetime of the kinds of things that I didn't want to happen to me, to the extent that I could change that. And I think it's made all the difference. And I'm also conscious, because I have 3 daughters, that they are watching very closely, even though they may not agree with some or all of what I do. I know that they have other relatives in their lives that they are observing very closely who are not enjoying and thriving the way that I am. And to those who would say, oh, it's your genes, trust me, I didn't get all the good genes. I've had some genetic testing, and I know this for a fact, which makes, even though I don't have the breast cancer gene, and I'm the only family who didn't get it, but only 10% of all breast cancers are genetic anyway, there is much that I have done to lead a very different life and have a different trajectory than so many of the other people in my family. And interestingly enough, 5 of my cousins and their children have gone vegan as a result of not only seeing what I'm doing, but having grown up in a family where heart disease and diabetes were just a given, that it's going to happen when you get old. We also had one family member who just dropped dead of a heart attack in his 50s, and that really made an impact on his children who have joined me in the vegan lifestyle. The vitality that I have has been completely the result of what I eat. So I have shared in other videos what I eat in a typical day, although maybe I should revisit that one again. But as I've mentioned in this one, I start off with oatmeal, but you can use any whole grain like millet, oat groats, just any kind of whole wheat if you can tolerate gluten. But there are even rice, and there are many cultures, quinoa, that do start off their day with something that is a slow burning fuel like a whole grain, one of the ones that I've just mentioned. One of my favorite breakfast grains, although it takes a little more time to cook it, is millet, because it's bright yellow and it fools the mind's eye, which is part of how you transition to a vegan diet, is finding foods that look like things you used to eat. And butter was definitely an addiction for me. And so eating millet, looks like it has butter on it, is kind of a way that you fool your mind's eye into eating something that is very much a delicious comfort food. It takes a little longer to cook, and I've tried to cook it in the microwave. You have to put a plate or something heavy over it so liquid doesn't bubble over. Same thing for oats. I mean, I do prefer cooking old school on top of the stove. I use a different cookware that is stainless or has titanium infused stainless, so it's a little less reactive to foods. Nutrition-wise, I always have a salad for lunch or some form of greens, and I'll make another whole grain like rice. And if it's just me eating for myself, I'll use leftovers of that for dinner. And I always incorporate some kind of bean like tofu, minimally processed, or beans like black beans or kidney beans, or some kind of soup that has a lot of beans in it. You know, that's where I get my protein. And although there is protein in everything, so you will not die of a protein deficiency. And then dinner is something that maybe takes a little more time to cook. Will I eat frozen dinners? Yes, I will, especially during the week. I hate that idea of eating something that is in plastic and paper, and often I will take it out of the container and put it in a bowl or a ceramic plate, something that if I'm cooking it in the microwave, that's how I do it. I don't just cook it in the container that it came with, because, you know, we just don't know what we're going to find out 10 years from now, that maybe that wasn't so good. In an ideal world, I love to eat food in its natural state, prepared old school way in a pot, whether it's an Instapot, a slow cooker, just a pot on or skillet on the stove. I try and do that as much as possible, but you and I know it's not a perfect world, and we just do the very best we can. All right, I hope you found value in this. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You'll get notified every time I have a new epiphany that I hope will help you, that I have learned over 70 long years of making plenty of mistakes, and the idea here is that I've made mistakes so you won't have to. In the meantime, I'd love to hear from you. What works for you? What is working in your lifestyle to help you thrive and stay positive in the crazy world we live in? All right, everyone, gotta run. Thanks for watching.